look at the time value of money. So time value of money. So let me ask a simple question. Will you prefer will you prefer 10,000 Ghana cedis today or 10,000 Ghana cedis in the next 5 years? A simple question. So you see, majority of us will go for 10,000 Ghana cedis today. Why? Because with 10,000 Ghana cedis today, we can work with it and earn what? Interest on the 10,000 Ghana cedis. Whereas if you want to go for 10,000 Ghana cedis in the near future, we say in future the value of money normally what? Reduces. Why? Because of what we call what? Inflation. As we all know, inflation reduces the value of what? Currency. So we rather prefer 10,000 now to 10,000 in the next what? 5 years. Now we want to look at these two terms, compounding and discounting. Normally, when you buy shares like this, it is when you invest in treasury bill or other securities, it is normally sold to you at a discount what rate. So what do we mean by discounting and what compounding? Now, when we say compounding, it is used to find. You see, compounding is used to find the future value of money invested today. Future value of money invested today. So if I invest 20,000 Ghana cedis today, what will be the future value after 2 years, given a particular interest rate? That is it. So in brief, we can say that the compounding is used to calculate the future value of money. That is it. In business finance, we say the future value of any money is given by the formula PV 1 plus R raised to the power what? N. So we'll explain that later. Then when we talk about discounting, with the discounting is just the vice versa of compounding, the reverse of compounding. While compounding is used to find the future value of an amount, discounting is used to determine the present value. The present value to be received. The present value of an investment to be received in the future. That is it. So if I want to buy, let's say, a computer in the near future, and I know the future value of that computer, there is a formula that we can use to determine how much I'm supposed to save now in order to get that particular amount in the future. So in other words, we say the discounting is used to calculate the present value of money, and present value of money can also be given as the future value over 1 plus Rn. Now, we have what we call the discount rate. Normally, the discount rate is the rate at which present value and future values present value of money and future values are traded. So, when you look at the formula, this is our discount rate, and we assume that there is 1 year. We'll go into it more. And then when you look at the discount value, the discount rate for present value of money is given as 1 over 1 plus R raised to the power N. So we'll go into that when we get to the calculation. Now we want to look at the future value of money. Future value of money. So what do we mean by future value of money? So when we say the future value of money is the Okay, so we say the future value of money is an amount an investment made today will grow as a result of what? Interest what? Earn. So the amount of money you are putting aside. If I decide to invest 20 Ghana cedis for 2 years, at the end of the 2 years, what will be my net worth or my investment worth? That is what we mean by what? Future value of what? Money. Now the future value can be given as present value 1 plus r raised to the power n, where our PV is our present value of money. Present value of money. And when we say present value, is the amount of money invested today or borrowed today. Then our R is our interest rate. The R is your interest rate, normally expressed as percentage. And then our N is the time, that's the period. In that order. Okay. So we'll look at a few examples, but before, let's look at a simple interest. Simple interest. Now we've all treated simple interest, what we call simple interest. Now when we say simple interest is basically the interest earned on what? Original what? Investment. So we say the interest earned on original investment or amount invested. But if you borrow money from the bank, the interest earned on the amount what? Borrowed. That is our simple what? Interest. And the simple interest can be given as P times R times T all over 100, where P is our principal. When we say principal, the amount borrowed or amount deposited, that is the amount invested, that is our principal. And then our rate is our interest rate, R. Our interest rate, normally given in percentage, that is why we have here over 100. And then the T represent our what? Time. So now let's look at let's try our hands on few examples on how to calculate the simple what? Interest. For example, let's say Ama deposited, let's say 300 Ghana cedis, 3,000 Ghana cedis in the bank at a simple interest rate, of maybe 2% per annum for 3 years. Calculate I, let's say our interest earned. And then let's say II amount, total amount at the end of the 2 years. At the end of the 3 years. So here, what do we do here? Remember I said, when you are given a question, the amount deposited or borrowed is what we call our principal. So in this our question, our principal is giving us 3,000 Ghana cedis. And then our rate is giving us 2%. So our rate here, 2%. And then our time is given as 3 what? Years. So to calculate our simple interest, we say principal times rate times time all over 100. So if I take my 3,000 times 2 times time, which is 3, divided by 100. So this cancels this. We have 30 times 2 will give us 60 times 3. And that is 180. So what it means is, if I deposit 3,000 Ghana cedis in my bank account, assuming the interest rate that is being offered in that particular bank is 2%, and I want to leave my investment there for 3 years, I am going to earn an interest of 180 Ghana what? Cedis. Now, the second part of the question is what will be our total amount at the end of the 3 years? So normally your total amount, or we call it the investment worth or the future value of the amount. So the total amount at the end of 3 years, we say our total amount is going to be one, our principal. Remember I said the principal is the amount of money invested in a business or in a bank account. So principal plus the interest what earned. So here our principal here is our 3,000, and then our interest is giving us what? 80. So here our final answer is 3,100 and what? 80 Ghana what? Cedis. So if I invest this for 3 years, that is it. There are times when the examiner will tell you to solve this same question using compound what? Interest. Well, what do you mean by compound interest? Compound interest is the interest earned on interest. That is it. The interest that you are earning on interest. So with compound interest, after calculating the first interest on the first principal, you add it to the principal and then you calculate the interest on the entire principal and the interest. So if I'm to calculate compound interest, so normally most people prefer what compound what interest to what simple what interest, because this one will yield more interest as compared to simple what interest. Now let's consider another example. Let's look at another example. We have here, assuming, let's say, assuming that you deposit 100 Ghana cedis in a savings account, paying 8% simple interest, paying 8% simple interest rate, and keep it there for 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, what will be your interest earned? So you can try your hands on this using the same formula. You have your principal, you have your rate, and then you have your time. So you substitute it into future value of money. Remember we said the future value is the amount an investment made today. The investment you made today, the money you set aside, will grow as a result of interest what? N. And we said the formula for future value is equal to 1 plus r raised to the power n, where PV is your present value, and then your r expressed as percentage. When we say expressed as percentage, if you are giving 8%, your r becomes 8 over 100. That is 0.0 what? 8. That is what we are trying to say here. Yeah. Okay, so let's try our hands on few what? Examples. So example 1. Let's say we have this. What will be your future value? What will be your future value if you invest let's say 10,000 Ghana cedis today at 10% interest rate per year for 2 years? So you see, this is a future value question. How do we know? Because you see, they are trying to ask you the future value of an amount of money you are investing today. Say an amount an investment made today will grow. That is the future what? Value. So what will be our future value? And we know our future value is present value 1 plus r raised to the power what? N. So what do we do here? The first question you ask yourself is, what is our present value? How much are we investing now? So you see that we are investing 10,000 Ghana cedis. So we have our 10,000 Ghana cedis. And then our R is our rate, which is 10%. You don't write 10. No. Remember I said the rate is expressed as percentage. So 10% can be written as 10 over 100. 10 over 100. And then our time is what? 2 years, which is 2. So we have like 10,000, 1 plus, 10%. If you punch 10% on a calculator, let's say 10 over 100, will give you 0.1. That is 10 over 100. You see, 0 cancels 0, 1 over 10, you run 1, you run 1. So you see, we have 0.1. Aha. Or raise the power 2. You can input this on your calculator and then you write down your value. But if you want the step by step to, this is how you go about it. So 1 plus this will give you 1.1 raise the power 2. So now let's do this. 10,000 multiply 1.1 raised to the power 2 will give us 12,100. What it means is that if I invest 10,000 Ghana cedis today, and I leave it for 2 years, assuming the interest rate is 10%, I am going to get what? 12,100 Ghana what? Cedis. That is it. So you see that the future value tells you the amount of money you will have in the future if you decide to put down a particular money what invest a particular money what now, that is today. Okay, now let's try our hands on another question under future value. Okay, so number 2, let's say we have this. Suppose that you deposit 500 Ghana cedis in your account. 500 Ghana cedis in your account. That yield a 25% rate for 5 years. For 5 years. What is the value? What is the value of your money at the end? At the end of 5 years, assuming the interest is charged under I, simple interest, II, compound interest basis.